Have you ever wondered why the Leaning Tower of Pisa doesn't just fall over? It's a famous landmark tilting against the sky like it's about to give up. Yet, for centuries, it has refused to collapse. This isn't magic. It's a fascinating story of a construction mistake, of very long waits and brilliant engineering. The tower leans because the ground underneath it is weak and unstable. One side sank deeper into the soft soil than the other, starting a slow-motion fall that has lasted for more than 800 years. It's a problem that began almost as soon as the first stones were laid. Imagine you're building a tower out of clay blocks. You place your first few layers on a soft, damp sponge. What happens? One side starts to sink, and your structure begins to tilt. That's exactly what happened in Pisa, Italy, back in the 12th century. The builders chose a spot with soft, marshy ground made of clay and sand. They only dug a foundation about 3 meters deep, which was not nearly enough to support the massive weight of a tall marble tower. The root of the problem lies deep beneath the beautiful white marble. The city of Pisa is built on the silty soil of a former river delta. This ground is a mixture of soft clay, fine sand, and water. Think of it like a layered cake of wet sand and mud. When the builders started the Tower of Pisa in 1173, they didn't have the modern tools to test the soil's strength. They started building a massive, heavy structure on a foundation that was simply too shallow and too small for the soft ground it sat upon. It was like trying to stand a giant on a pillow. The construction was multi-stage and contributed to the problem. After the first 3 stories were built, the sinking became obvious, the lean was visible, and the project was halted. This century-long pause was critical. The weight of the existing structure slowly squeezed the water out of the clay beneath it, a process called consolidation. That made the soil denser and a bit more stable, preventing immediate collapse. Without the long break, the tower likely would have toppled. By the 20th century, the Leaning Tower of Pisa was no longer just a curiosity, it was a crisis. The tilt had reached a critical angle. Imagine a toy block tower that you've tilted as far as it can go. You can feel the tension, the moment just before it all comes crashing down. That's where the Tower of Pisa was. Its center of gravity was creeping ever closer to the edge of its base. Engineers calculated that if it tilted just a little bit more, it would reach a point of no return. The force of gravity would pull it over, and a priceless piece of world history would be reduced to rubble. Several attempts to fix the tower in the past had only made things worse. In 1838, an architect dug a walkway around the base to expose the buried foundation. This was a terrible idea. It was like pulling away the sand supporting a beach chair. The ground became less stable, and the tower lurched, leaning several more centimeters in a very short time. Later, in the 1930s, engineers tried to stabilize the foundation by injecting hundreds of tons of cement grout into the ground. This was also a mistake. In 1990, the tower was officially closed to the public for the first time in its 800-year history. The Italian government assembled a team of the world's best engineers, architects, and historians to find a permanent solution. They met, planned, and tested together. It was like performing surgery on a patient who was already on the verge of collapse, where one wrong move could be fatal. The final solution was brilliantly simple, but required incredible precision. The engineers decided not to push the tower up, but to gently encourage it to settle back. Their plan was to carefully remove small amounts of soil from underneath the tower's north side, the side that was higher. Imagine our clay model on its soft sponge again. Instead of trying to prop up the sinking side, you carefully scoop out a tiny bit of the sponge from under the raised side. The model would then gently sink into the space you created, straightening itself out. Before they could start removing soil, they had to secure the tower. They draped huge steel cables over the 3rd story and anchored them to massive weights hundreds of meters away on the north side. This was a safety net. Engineers used a specially designed corkscrew drill encased in a rotating pipe to pull soil out from under the foundation. They removed only a few liters of soil at a time, then paused to let the tower settle. They watched their instruments constantly monitoring the tower's response in real time. The tower slowly, almost magically, began to creep back toward a more upright position. After removing about 70 tons of soil, the lean had been reduced by 45 centimeters, bringing the tower back to where it was in the early 1800s. The project was a stunning success. The tower that was famous for its flaw is now also a monument to human ingenuity, a testament to how we can correct the mistakes of the past.